I once read so many mystery stories that at some point my parents were worried that their daughter might be mentally ill. But think about it now, who says I'm not? Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope the opening didn't scare you. I'm not mentally ill, I don't think so. It's Chinese New Year, so I thought we should do something close to home. Growing up, I was always a huge mystery fan. I think at some point I have read every Agatha Christie and every Japanese mysteries in the bookstore back in 2007 to maybe 2010. What happened later, you might ask? Well, I grew up, life became insufferable, but I still keep some track of the mystery genre. I know it's a weird logic, but please bear with me because today we are looking back to two of my favorite Japanese mystery authors. I did some digging on Google. It turns out that the first one we're talking about today only published one book in English version. It's his best known work. I love it. But I just thought I hope they translate his whole collection because I have tremendous fun reading his book growing up. I also want to thank my parents at this point for letting me read it after midnight. My dad did express his concerns about me reading all about murders, but in general they didn't stop me, or should I say they failed to. Also, today we have Mona Lisa the Lego set here. It's a birthday gift from one of my friends, and I thought the mystery smile goes very well with the tone of this video, so she'll stay here for a while. Okay, everybody welcome her. Anyway, I had a thought a few nights ago going home that people love mysteries for two reasons. First is the curiosity that not only kills the cat, but apparently some fictional characters too. We as human beings have such a great enthusiasm to find out the truth and to keep digging. And what could possibly be better than a murder mystery, a puzzle, or a riddle, right? That was the first reason. The second reason is, I think mystery has a similarity with romance, in terms of each book of the genre has to follow a specific set of rules. For example, you could at least expect a body, or even bodies, or some crime, along with the truth, an explanation in the mystery. Just as you would expect two protagonists falling for each other as the plot develops in romance fiction. You want truth about case, you want secrecy and lies, and you get it. Just like if you read a romance, you can most certainly witness the blossom of a solid relationship. Almost every writer follows the rules, and within that, I, as a reader, can get a sense of security. Just like I like to rewatch Poirot the TV series during lunch or dinner. Because I know no matter how hard the case was, I will learn the truth at the end of each episode. And that knowledge brings me comfort and security because it brings a form of certainty, which is what I want to talk about in terms of the first author of today's video. Because he didn't really follow the rules. He did write a locked room mystery with a body, but it didn't entirely follow the rules in a specific way. So the author's name is Natsuhiko Kyogoku. According to data from Goodreads and Amazon, he only published one book in English, which is called The Summer of the Ubume. Also, there is some really fascinating things about this author, because in China, this book was described as the Japanese version of The Name of the Rose by Italian author Umberto Eco. And Kyogoku was thought as the Japanese Eco, apparently. But in the English website, such as Goodreads, he was described as the Neil Gaiman of Japanese mystery. By the way, speaking of Neil Gaiman, this video will not talk about his recent news because I want to focus solely on Kyogoku and the other author about Japanese mystery. But if what the news said was true, I think it's a horrible thing that he did. So the book, The Summer of the Ubume, it's a set of mysteries happen in a rich household. First, there was a woman who said to be with child for the last 20 months, whose husband disappeared a few months before her pregnancy in a locked room. So the detective was asked by the family to uncover the truth regarding this couple. There will be no spoilers for this video, so don't worry about me ruining your fun of reading. I read The Summer of the Ubume when I was maybe 13 or 14. I've never expecting a mystery written in this way. Because a few years later that I read Echo's books, that I understood why people made such a comparison. The mystery plot in this book is relatively thin. Not bad, but kind of thin. There are a lot of ramblings or thinking about history, Japanese folklore, about women's position in the family and Japan's society. The author has such a broad taste of reading that he blended all the elements, fiction, mystery, psychology, history, and folklore together. The name Ubume was used to describe women who lost their children and died during giving birth. And as in Japanese folklore, they were turned into a certain type of birds. It was a very difficult book to read for a 14-year-old. I didn't particularly enjoy the ending actually, because I thought at that time that the plot twist was not twisted enough. The supernatural element was overtaking the whole plot of deduction. But it was a fresh breath in terms of the whole Japanese culture and history. Kyogoku wrote in a literary style. So if there's anyone who out there still think that mystery is not literature, they should go read the book, because it definitely is. It's just different from Western mysteries. I also believe that The Summer of the Ubume was not Kyogoku's best work, because the series has at least 7 more books, and some of them came in 2 sets. I think I read 4 or 5 of them, and they were brilliantly kept in my old room at my parents' house till today. The plots get scarier in each book, as they all comes with their own themes. So one was about bones, one was about mice, and one was about spiders, and there was another one about dreams, I think. For example, there was a book about a woman stated that she killed her husband 4 times. She had these crazy dreams, and her psychiatrist wanted to find out the truth about her. Yes, it was very scary, but the deduction got better and better, and it linked very well with the Japanese folklore. So if you can read Japanese or Chinese, I encourage you to read them. Each book is very thick, but I think it's worth the journey, because it was not simply about there's a crime, there's a body, who killed it, and the deduction. It was more like a general view of a certain time of period in Japanese society. And you can learn so much about them as a nation, as a society, how they think, how they react, and how the past history significantly shaped them. The second author we are discussing today, though, falls more back to what we talked about in terms of following the rules. I first heard about Yukito Ayatsuji because of his special collection about buildings. So he wrote a series of murder mysteries named House Murders, that each book took place in a weird, specifically designed house. I read the whole series when I was maybe 15 or 16, as the author Ayatsuji was one of the founders of Honkaku Mystery Writers Club of Japan. He knew how to write a perfect Honkaku mystery. The first pages, you can expect a body, and more bodies. The puzzles got more difficult, and finally there was an answer. He was the only author that I couldn't guess the ending, or he dazzled me and pointed me to the false answer each time, and it happened so many times that in our little mind game I was always the loser. Happily though, that's what I came for. But he also left his own mark in my memory as a wonderful mystery author who always knows how to lie to your audience. The first one I read was the Decagon House Murder. Then there was the Mill House Murder, the Labyrinth House Murder, and my favorite one, the Clock House Murder. I am not spelling plots for every book, but listen to this plot of the Clock House Murder, okay? The mysterious clock house is a remote mansion built by a notorious architect. The owner, who was a long-dead clock enthusiast, filled the building with countless valuable timepieces from across the world. Rumor has it that the clock house is haunted by the ghost of a girl who died 10 years ago. A group of journalists went inside to investigate the mansion for a magazine. A detective came along as well, but he found out that the team was slaughtered one by one, and the time of each clock was pointing at something. That's the premise. Please, who can put it down after reading the introduction? I read a murder story by Agatha Christie, which also has clocks in it. The second I read about the premise. It's just intriguing. I remember finished the book in one afternoon, probably during classes as well, because I was in middle school. And yes, till today, I still remember the ending. I remember the plot and the truth regarding this case. And I think it's one of the most brilliant detective stories I have ever read. The thing about Ayatsuji was, everything was a fair game to him. Like Ellery Quinn, he will give you a ton of information and trap you in it. But there is more besides great puzzles for these two. I, for a long time, love Japanese mysteries much more than British or American ones, because they use their culture, history, and style in a more creative way. Or I think, as an Asian, their culture speaks more volumes to me because it's so close to me. A building can be used as a weapon. A person's gender can be the crucial part to uncover a mystery. I'm not going to tell you which book it is. A book, a key, anyone can be the person who holds all the secrets. Their pop culture, which includes literature, manga, TV shows, and everything else, is so rich that it's easily to get in a good mystery book, came back and find out that there are tons more in the bookshelf. It's not as literary. So Ayatsuji's work is not as literary as Kyogoku's. I think teens or YA readers might like Ayatsuji's books more, especially his series named Another, which was also a manga, I think. Though I do believe if you are searching for a vintage, before millennial, classic, and systematically formed mystery, you should read Mansion Murder series. Not the same as Agatha Christie, but it gives a little, it also has a little Western elements in it, and the plots blend very well with the murder. I do believe that Japanese mysteries have great, marvelous plots and designs, but British or American mysteries have more relatable characters or more daily plots. I love cozy mystery, but sometimes one do needs a shot of thrilling, right? And if you, like me, enjoys the Japanese mysteries, there are so much more authors for you to explore. The old classic authors described a lot of history and society problems in their books that you can almost read these books as history books. There are Soji Shimada, which I love. I read quite a few of his work. Keigo Higashino, who is very big in China, remains today. There are also great female writers like Rikako Akiyoshi. I recently read her book, Holy Mother, and it's creepily good and relatable from a female's perspective. If you're looking for the biggest plot twist of your reading life, you should accept her challenge. Now, in terms of mystery stories and why we love them, I think mystery stories, for me, created a form of intellectual game. It's dangerous on paper, but the good will always conquer the bad. And at the end of the day, when you close the book, you will know for sure that there's no mystery left for you to uncover. That, for me, as a kid, was the best part of reading the mysteries. It's also impossibly far away from my real life as a student, but imagination and literature, it broadened my thinking and my view towards the world. Always trying to look from a different angle, always questioning everything. I can't say if it made my life better or worse. I tend to think better for all the fun I used to have from reading. And that's all for today's short, fun little video. At least I hope it's fun. Next week, we have something very special for Valentine's Day. I can't wait to share this with you. I promise it will be fun. At least for me, it was hugely fun. Hope the Year of Snake is a blast for everyone, and see you next week.